Okay, Sports Now in session. All rise. We are a go for another episode of Commanders Justice. And we just had a game with the Commanders playing the Bengals. And you know what? It was exciting because you could see the team starting to believe. You see the fans are believing. It was pretty exciting. I mean, I don't want to monopolize this part of it because it's a win. What'd you guys think of the game? Anybody want to jump on?
I thought it was great. I was very pleasantly surprised because I was not expecting that, but I thought it was great. And like you said, Ken, all the pieces, like it's interesting. It's kind of like watching a toddler put a puzzle together and they get really excited because then they suddenly start to see like this piece fits there and that fits there. And then that's like a fun thing to watch when all the things start to come together.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. For all the toddlers out there, they became Commanders fans on Monday night. I like it because they hung around. Defense made key plays when they had to, and the quarterback was tremendous. And again, like I stated earlier, it's the fourth quarter coaching. How you coach in the fourth quarter, and you get the players to believe in the fourth quarter. Things can happen, and that last touchdown pass by Daniels to McLaurin was special. That's a big time play under pressure situation, and Daniels just looked cool the whole night. He looked calm and cool the whole night. So he was more calmer and cooler than Joe Barrow. So in the look department, but yes, they were impressive, and I think I called the upset. I don't know if I did. I think I remember calling upset. So on the road. So Dustin, he has to come through. I don't know if he sent you anything, Ken, but
No, not yet.
he needs to come through.
Um, so
Dustin,
yeah,
the Bengals fan who was on last week.
yeah. Let's break that down a little bit because I was looking at the game and one, a lot of times success people see it as a one-time thing and then all of a sudden it's success. But when we were actually coaching a congressional football game, one of the members came to me and said, man, I see how it all works together. It's not just the defensive back getting covering somebody. It's because they got a great pass rush. Because of the great pass rush, it led to the DBs having good coverage and a possible interception. And it's everything's involved in the game. And I say that to say that with this game, you saw that the first couple of games they were focusing on the run game. They were focusing on short passes. You didn't see a lot of Terry McLaurin with him getting the ball, and you knew it was or you were hoping it was just a matter of time because I think we even talked about where was he at? What were they doing with him? And it seems like the progression of this game was that they let loose the reins and say, okay, you know what? We're gonna let you go deep and don't disappoint us. And it's not something that was so surprising because he did it in preseason, and I think it shocked him that he did it in preseason because he audible to the play on his own. And most coaches want to control things. This is just my thought. But I think they let the reins loose and say, okay, you know what? Let's see what you got. And he delivered. And I thought that was really cool.
Well, yeah, true, true. So when you have a leadership role at quarterback, and you see what's happening on the field. OC's up in the stairs, upstairs in the booth, and or in the sideline. They still don't see it like the players see it. They see a big picture upstairs, but the player on the field, hey, I got this. I see what they're doing over there. So I believe in my guy, and my guy believes in me. And he had a little pressure on his face on that last touchdown pass, which was showed that he was solid in the pocket. And again, he uses security blanket, Zach Ertz. He showed that, hey, I can get open for you and I'll be there for you. And one thing we can't let go, and you mentioned about the congressional football team game, we didn't have it in our game. And when a member comes to you and asks you a question, you know what sparked that game that night as well? That kick return, almost
Yeah.
to the house.
Yeah.
And that gave them some energy on the road.
Yeah. People underestimate the power of belief sometimes. And then what do you think, guys, real quick? Everyone's talking about like now everyone's pleasantly surprised, rightfully so, but there's so much like, well, he's a rookie quarterback and we didn't expect him to do this. But it seems like rookie quarterbacks are well more prepared to play the game than people are giving them credit for. The game, although the game steps up a level, I think that, the rookie quarterbacks are prepared. And from what I heard with the ownership, they looked at him. He was on the upswing, right? He was his couple of years coming to the pros. He was on the upswing of success and everything that he was doing. And some of these other guys who were drafted just around him, the other quarterbacks were kind of, they were high and then they were on the downside. Their senior year wasn't as good and they didn't do that. So he has a lot of stuff. They've been using virtual reality as training. There's so many things that I think rookies are using now that are giving them a step ahead. But, like always, that part and then live action is a total different thing. But I do think rookies are more prepared. What do you guys think? Is it hype to expect rookies now to come in being prepared, or is that still kind of old school where you still got to get a year or two under your belt before you really show who you are?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about, the Panther situation with Bryce Young, who was obviously an incredibly talented quarterback, won the Heisman, he's got all the bells and whistles, but his size might have something to do with it. And I think that now the quarterbacks that are coming in and having success are bigger guys. They're bigger, they're sturdier. Like you said, Ken, they have a trajectory from their in college that keeps going up versus kind of being stalled and stagnant. And, then a lot of it is just like you got to get lucky. If you get lucky and you get some good coaches and get some decent players on your offense, you're going to have a better year, as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ken, Marnie, it starts in high school. These kids are more passing league, even in high school. In the high school,
Like football.
yeah. Well, not just flag football. Well, I mean the game itself. And the guys, they have these 7-on-7 leagues too now with these high school kids. And so the mindset is throwing the ball. Anybody can hand the ball off. Ken, you and I can get back there. And Marty, we all can get back there and hand the ball off because that's what the offensive line and the running backs to do their job. But when you start being able to think in high school and read defenses in high school and in college, they are doing the same thing, and the game speed is getting faster and faster. So these guys are able to process. So a rookie like Burrow when he was a rookie, Peyton Manning when he was a rookie, now Daniels rookies or second-year guys, they see the system. They just have to catch up with the speed, and it seems like Daniels have caught up with the speed. It's only 3 games in, but it seems like and the other team's going to get some game film on him. So they're going to learn him as well as he learned them. So.
And it was cool to see kind of the progression because like I said, you see the game as a one-time event, whereas it's a accumulation of several events coming to that game. And so when you watch this game, you saw, like I said, they were doing a lot of dump passes to the running backs, short passes, and then him running, having the ability to run, that calls other teams when they're watching the film, they're gonna say, well, this is a running quarterback, so cheat up a little bit or be prepared for the run. Now that adds an extra dimension to the game plan because now everyone's cheating up a little bit, expecting him to run or on alert that he's going to run. It opens up something a little bit deeper. If guys aren't paying attention, doing all that they're supposed to do, then that happens on offense. And then I think, John, what you said also with this game, it was the defense stepped up when they needed to. And that, because defense had been playing pretty bad. They still got holes. But defense had been playing pretty bad up until this game, and they stepped up. There's still holes there, so don't buy the Super Bowl ticket just yet. But I think it was an impressive kind of what we said. It's uptake. Every week you want to see them get a little bit better.
And the thing about that as well, using this arsenal, when they're on the goal line, you got to watch out for those linemen coming off the line and catching touchdowns and doing their motion.
That's a great play call.
Pratt steps, they're stepping on the field and to get those. when the big lineman get a touchdown, he got a step, and then they got to celebrate. So again, another great play call, and being able to use Daniel's legs when he have to, not necessarily. He slid properly this time, and he knew how to do a little trickery with that old lineman scoring. So defense going to catch up. Like everybody's defense not playing well around the league. So going to take some time to catch up. But
Yeah.
I think the first 3 weeks of the season is really like that. Okay, this is the first week of the regular season because we don't have training camp anymore like we used to. So everybody's got the game speed in their systems, and they got the hitting and tackling down now.
And then overall, like I said, it's belief. I mean, we've kind of been advocates of it's most of the game is up here, and then you start playing the physical part, but a lot of it is what you believe. And to the credit of the ownership, they're playing the Cardinals, and instead of coming back here and having to make that long travel, short time, then get back on the plane, they decided to fly them directly to Arizona and let them stay there so they could get acclimated to the time change and be prepared to play. That's ownership saying we care more about our players than we do the bottom line. And you've seen a lot of little things that as a player coming into this organization, you say, wow, they really care about us, as opposed to, other teams and things that we've seen. I think people can feel it, and then like we've talked about from the top down, you can feel it. I guess Marnie on your side, just Marnie on your side. I mean, that was something. I know your mom was more on the finance side, but she can contribute to that atmosphere of showing the team that we care about them. Am I wrong?
I think that my grandfather was known for sending roses to his players all the time. So he would send flowers, and he would make sure that everybody knew that they really were an important part and wanted everybody to be treated well, whether it was caviar on the planes and, champagne on the ride back. I mean, that was really what, and also making sure that the equipment managers had access to all the right things, because those are the little details that do make a difference and make people just grateful in any organization, but certainly when you're in a professional football organization, those are things that make people know that they matter and that they're valued.
So you're saying that the Eagles back then under your grandfather, he had the champagne wishes and caviar dreams, or is it caviar dreams and champagne wishes? Which one is it?
I think it was whatever anybody wanted. The answer was yes. How do we make it happen? Yeah.
We're dating ourselves as a podcast, because if you're old enough to know what that is, then you're old.
Tell them what that means, Ken. Tell everybody what that means.
Was it Robin Leach?
Robin Leach.
And he used to do
of the Rich and Famous.
Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. He used to do a show, and it's before the internet and all that stuff. And he would take you to the places and show you how lifestyle of Rich and Famous.
Show them Marnie's house. You see Marnie's house on that time?
So.
And he would give.
I don't think our house was. Our house was ever on that. It was probably like on some rinky-dink like KYW show or something like that, maybe. But I don't even think that was the case. But somehow somebody probably said, "Oh, that would be a great idea." My mom's like, "No, that is not a good idea. We don't do that. No, we're not. That's not a good idea."
Well, you give people a vision of what could be, and people start moving towards that vision. So,
and guess, speaking of lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, who pops up?
Yep,
that's right.
John and Ken. John and Ken and Marnie.
Well, so you got to be feeling good, my man. You're you went with the Commanders to win, and lo and behold, they won. They showed themselves.
Despite of the defense's best effort to lose the game, they did win.
All right, hold on. Check. Let me stop right there. I got to stop. Well, you're talking to two defensive players like that. Now,
we could have used you. They might need you.
No, but hold on now. But when I hear fans say that, it hurts me. It hit me in the gut, because we don't ever go out to lose or try to lose a game, but we know we got to make some adjustments. So a 15-yard penalty on Alex for saying that, Ken, Marnie.
Oh, I'm actually complimenting you, because listen.
Well, no, not me. I'm talking to you young Commanders.
Yeah, well,
I'm
We,
taking up
we
for him. I'm taking up
You
for
can't
him.
handle the truth. And I hear what you're saying, but the deal is, I mean, and I got you, but ultimately the goal is to win. And as you know, in anything in life, if your right hand is weak, then your left hand may have, well, forget it.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
What,
hey,
what
hey,
part?
Alex. I'm sorry. Guess what? The Commanders' defense was better than the Cincinnati Bengals' defense. How
yeah,
about that?
it's you know,
Huh?
Well, long
I
Huh?
appreciate that you're looking at the positive, the total positive picture.
Who
and
got
you know
more
what?
scored on him?
This
Huh?
this you're like most fans here
He's a smart fan.
because people are excited, but the judgment's still out. And
Yeah.
so, you're gonna see the flaws a little bit more glaringly and a little bit brighter. You don't want to be brainwashed again like previous or be, sold a bill of goods. I got it. But here we got the team they're playing against the Arizona Cardinals. And so let's go ahead and start. You as a Commander fan, they're playing the Arizona Cardinals. Well, I guess you started off already. What do you think they need to do to improve the defense to win against the Cardinals? Or is the Cardinals, are the Cardinals, you know, I don't know, not good enough and we really don't have to improve anything? What do you think we need to do
Well,
to
I mean, to me, honestly, I don't know that they can do a lot. I mean, we're certainly lacking in coverage ability. I don't know if there's something they could do schematically that could help us out. I mean, they've got Marvin Harrison Jr., who is gonna, I think, is on the verge of becoming an elite wide receiver. Kyler Murray obviously can extend plays. It's really going to depend on if they can do something schematically, because I do think personnel wise right now we're limited on what they'll be able to do defensively. I think the offense has shown enough where that they can score enough to win a lot of games, not every game. Can the defense keep the other team in check, 2 or 3 possessions a week?
did we get any sacks
They
during the
got
game?
I think
Yeah.
1 or 2.
one or two. Yeah.
Okay,
I think we
so
actually had 2. I think we had 2.
do you think that the pass rush um can be improved? I mean that obviously would help the coverage because
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard because we did trade away our defensive ends last year, Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Cleveland Farrell has played pretty well, but I don't see the consistent pass rush. Really, I didn't see it that much last year either, but certainly after the trade, to me, it looks like we're kind of lacking there as well. I think I looked after the game this week that 6 of the top 8 tacklers on the team are all in the secondary, which is not good. I mean, that shows how much the other teams are getting into that third layer of the defense, which again would kind of suggest that the front 2 layers of the defense are not really keeping the ball up there. So
well,
the
look,
pass rush is a problem as well.
looking at the Cardinals, what do you think is going to be their strength and what do you think is their weakness?
Well, for me, the strength of for them is their diversity on offense in terms of Kyler Murray can throw the ball a little bit, but he's also got very good escapability in the pocket. He doesn't mind tucking and running, similar to Jaden, but I think he runs more often than Jaden does. So I think that their diversity of offense, and then they have a deep threat now with Marvin Harrison Jr. That to me is the strength of their team, and it's going to be a challenge again. I mean, I thought Washington, to give them a little credit, they did a solid job on Jamar Chase last week. They had T. Higgins to cover as well, and they did a good job, I think, not letting that situation or those players get too many yards and too many open possibilities. But they're going to have their hands cut out, their work cut out for them this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Then looking at the team, what do you think is going to be like if you had to do 3 keys of victory, what are the 3 keys of victory?
I think you have to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket. And that's, I think, the number one thing. If you can you don't have to sack him, but if you can keep him in the pocket, I think you're going to have a chance. I don't think he can beat you with his arm. I think he has to beat you with his arm and his legs. And if you take the legs away, it's going to be tough for him just to drop back 40 times and beat somebody. That would be key number one. I think the secondary is going to have to keep the receiving core in front of them and not give up, deep passes like we have, a lot this season so far. And I think also we had, I don't know if you guys noticed it last week against Cincinnati, we did have trouble getting ball carriers to the ground. I mean, there was a couple times we could have had tackles for losses, several TFLs. And, lo and behold, the running back's able to, run around the outside, or the receivers able to break free and gain an extra 10 or 12 yards. I think those are the three things for me that Washington's going to have to do this week.
Let me ask you, you played football, correct? Before?
Yeah. Not like you guys, but yes.
Well, ultimately at the end of the day, fundamentals are fundamentals.
Right.
If you had to describe how to make a tackle, because that's one of the weaknesses we see, how would you teach somebody how to make a tackle?
That's probably a better question for you guys, but we were always
it is, but I want to see what
we were always taught to stay low and use your leverage, to wrap and grab high cloth. That's kind of how we were taught. And to drive, keep your face mask up, so you're not launching and leading with your head. So we were kind of, I think everybody's kind of taught the same like textbook technique. Now, when the game is going on and guys are flying around at 25 miles an hour, it obviously gets a little bit more complicated, but that's kind of, low leverage and, grabbing high cloth, keeping your face mask up and your head up. That's kind of what we were taught.
Well, just now coming on, and I think he should connect hopefully in a minute. I'm excited because this is kind of like a kid in a candy store. There's a player who, at the end, if I could say anything about him, is everyone respected him. You may not have the biggest name, you may not have been to the Super Bowl, but this player is probably nothing but respect, especially with heart and attitude, going after the ball, or trying to make things happen, and was a hard person to get down. I think he's on. Larry Centers.
I'm on. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can definitely hear you.
Can you see me?
I can't see you. Oh,
There
there
he
we
is.
go. There we go.
He's up fishing.
Larry Centers. So
Hey,
I'm all
Love
I'm
Larry
all,
Sanders. That was a great pickup by Washington back in the day.
And he does have a Super Bowl.
yes, that's absolutely right. What's going on, guys?
I'm all giddy because this guy, is one thing to play with him, and you knew he had the heart and would do everything humanly possible to get 1, 2, 3 yards. Just a baller. But then when you had to play against him, I think he almost broke my ribs one time, and it was just a baller. So, Larry, welcome to the show. You're gonna have to defend, even though you played with the Washington, you're gonna have to defend the Commanders. And so you've been watching. Have you been watching I mean, you got to defend the Cardinals. Have you been watching the Cardinals at all?
I've been, watching probably about as much as everybody else has. I've seen the highlights. I've read the clippings and things like that. I know they lost a tough one in Buffalo, and they won one pretty convincingly, and then the last one I think they dropped.
Well, what do you think of the team? I mean, everyone's from when I've been listening on news and places, everybody's like, oh, the Washington had a great victory, but now they got to go and face the Cardinals, and this is the Cardinals redeeming game, and was the easy one on their schedule. Everyone kind of crossed the Commanders out beforehand. What do you think of the team now? Do you think that they have a chance to beat the Commanders, or do you think that it's they're going to lose? What do you think?
I think they have an opportunity, man. I like the how scrappy this team is this year. I watched Kyler Murray a couple of games ago, and I've watched him a few times this year, and he looks a lot like he did in high school. I was one of the. He grew up here in Texas, and I was one of the guys who got a chance to go see him play while he was a quarterback here, and he actually looked a lot like he did in high school. So if they can protect him, and if he can buy some time, I think. They're going to be pretty tough. That defense is playing well, so I don't think they're as much of a pushover as they have been in the past.
What do you think, since you're running back, what do you think of the Cardinals as a running team? Do you think there's going to be any type of running game, or is it going to be all of a passing game?
Well, I think that's the key to their success this year. I think if they can commit to the running game and get the ball to James Conner, get those guys up front moving the line of scrimmage, I think they'll have a much better chance to be successful overall. Um, the defense, as I mentioned, looks good, and I think that's shored up pretty well. But the key to their success and is, as you mentioned, I think will be the running game this year.
Well, as the show goes, I am going to shut up and pass the ball to Judge Morning so she can ask you guys a couple of questions. Look at that form. It's
I
gone.
see you. I see you. Stick
She called it.
stick to the defensive side.
Got it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Stick to what you know. All right, Judge Morning, you'll go.
All right. So, hi, Larry and
Hey,
Alex.
Jeff.
Okay, let's talk about the Commanders and why you believe that this week they can continue their winning streak against the Arizona Cardinals.
Well,
Well,
go ahead, Larry. Go ahead.
Well,
no,
actually,
go ahead.
why don't you do it, Alex, since it's about the Commanders.
Okay, yeah. Look, I think offensively, they're riding high. They've got some confidence. I think they have to be careful not to be overconfident because it is really, quite frankly, they've only had one what I would call a great, offensive game. The week before, they were able to move the ball a lot against New York, but they were settling for field goals and really could not figure out how to score in the red zone at home, which was concerning to me as a fan. But I do think they've got momentum. I think that Jaden Daniels, you could see, took another step in his development. Obviously, it's only 3 games, so you don't want to get too high or too low. But he hit a couple of really good deep balls late in the game, early in the game that really kind of helped him, I think, be a little bit more, not too hesitant to throw the ball like he was the first 2 weeks. So I think they've got a chance. I mean, Arizona's a good team, as every team in the NFL's got talented players or the best players in the world. But I do think this presents an opportunity for us to get some momentum going.
And what do you think that you want to see from the Commanders this week that you haven't seen that would be consistent with them, improving and really getting it together? Is there anything special?
The defense. I mean, the defense has got to, this is going to be a theme, I think, unfortunately, every week that we talk about them is, they're not getting enough pressure when they're getting there. They're not necessarily bringing the quarterback down. Kyler Murray's got the ability to throw, but he's also a terrific runner. He's great at extending plays to throw the ball as well. So I think they're going to have to play much better defense. The front seven, the secondary. I mean, everybody's got to do, pull their weight in order to keep this game from getting out of hand.
Do you think that this Arizona Cardinals team is the hardest team that they face this season, or not?
No, I think like Tampa under our former Redskin great Todd Bowles. I think that's the best team we've played so far. I think last week was the best offensive team that we've played so far. But again, Arizona is they're a good team, and we have no reason to think that we're significantly better than they are at this point. I think we just have to take it as this is another challenging opponent, and they've got to do everything they can, and they've got to do everything right to win the game.
Excellent. All right. So, Larry, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. How are they feeling? What do you think is going to happen with this game? And are they able to beat the Commanders, who have won 2 kind of, but beyond everybody's belief in them, they've won the past 2 games.
Judge, I think this is a very pivotal game for the Arizona Cardinals. They have shown this is a very important time of year for every team because everybody's trying to find their identity right now. But I think having lost the 2 games that they've lost and in the fashion that they've lost them, I think they have something to prove this week. So in order for them to beat the Commanders, obviously they need to get to Jaden Daniels. They need to stop that powerful passing attack and, obviously try to keep him in the pocket and not let him get outside and make some of those dynamic plays that we've seen from him this year. I think if they can do that and stop the run, I think they'll be successful this game.
And all right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how convinced are you that the Cardinals are going to take this one from the Commanders?
Well, that's early in the year now. It's hard to predict, but I don't know if I'll say that I have just a large measure of confidence. I just think that it'll be a good matchup. quite frankly, it's anybody's ball game. I just think that the Cardinals have to do some specific things in order to come out successfully this weekend. But I'd say probably about a 5-6. I'm confident for Arizona pulling this game out.
And how are the fans responding to the Cardinals this year? I mean, what are the fans thinking about the team? What have you heard any of the feedback about? All right, well, it's early and we're gonna, take care of business or anything like that. What are they saying?
Well, I've had the opportunity to talk to a few former teammates, and I think we all seem to agree that the team is going to be much better than they were last year, which is not saying a whole lot because they've been toward the bottom. But I think they'll be more successful this year. This new coach is bringing in a level of enthusiasm that's kind of got the town buzzing, and it's just a matter of going out executing at this point, and again establishing some team confidence. And I think you do that starting with this game this weekend. I think they got to go out and try to put forth their best performance and come away with a win.
Both very convincing. All right. Well, now it's my turn to show you my throwing skills while I'm avoiding a hurricane in my car. But John, so thank you guys. Just take it away.
Thanks, Marnie, and be careful with that high wind and rain out there in North Carolina. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna start. Hey, I'm a fanboy myself now. Larry Centers and I, we're from the same home area in East Texas. And Joe got the biggest calf muscles that I've ever seen, and he can jump out of the gym. So thanks for being on the show today, Larry, and great to see my homeboy from East Texas.
Always a pleasure, and you know that the respect is absolutely mutual.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alex, I'm gonna start with you. Commanders fan, Washington fan, Kingsbury. He's going back to Arizona.
Yeah.
What do you think? He's going to put a scheme together to say, listen, I know this team, some of the personnel on this team, I know what we can do against that defense. And somewhat I'm a quarterback whisperer because I know about Kyler Murray. I can go into the defensive meetings as well and explain to them, this is what you need to do against this guy. So starting with you, what do you think? How do you think Kingsbury is feeling?
Well, I think look, for anybody, they always tell you the coach speak and the media speak is it's just another game. But you guys know when you're playing against former team or former coaches, it's more than that. I think, first of all, him being the head coach, being the guy that drafted Kyler Murray, I think he's going to be able to give Washington's defense, you would hope it helps. I'm not sure how much it's going to help this year, but a lot of good intel on Kyler, on the rest of the team. Don't forget now, Zach Ertz. It's a homecoming for him as well. Playing against Arizona. I think the insights that he's going to be able to give the defense is invaluable, but the defense still has to perform much better than they have this week. In the previous 3 games.
So Larry, same question pretty much about Kingsbury coming back. You think the whole town, the city of Phoenix, the fans, the coaching staff, like, hey, or the players who played under him who are still there, I don't know how many are still there, there's not going to be a welcoming home committee for him. They're going to try to get after his offense. I mean, getting after Daniels. What do you think the aspirations of a team being fired up about that?
I think they'll be extra fired up for this game. You remember, as well as Ken, that any little motivation that you can use to get your team ready, you want to use that. And I think this will be a motivating factor for getting after the Cardinals. I think that Kingsbury will have a little bit more insight than most because, obviously he scouted Kyler Murray in college and coached him as a head coach of the Cardinals out there with the team. So he'll know some of the small details of things that may show up as a weakness that doesn't meet the eye when you just watch the film. So I'm expecting them to go out and push those buttons and see if it works for them.
So Alex, going back to what Larry said about Kyler Murray, looking like he's in high school. It was still young kids. So, but you think that having that mentality that I'm back in my groove, I came back from an injury, but I'm back in my groove. First 3 games of the season, but I can make some things happen with my legs. So do you think if he gets in that secondary or that third level, you said, he makes some plays with his legs against the Cardinals defense.
Yeah, I think that's going to be, I don't want to say ripe for the taking, but I mean, through 3 weeks, we just don't have the ability. Washington has shown the ability. They're not great at getting guys on the ground. They're not great at getting tackles for loss. I think we have 4 sacks on the season in 3 games. And again, I think I also mentioned our top 8 tacklers, 6 of them play in the secondary. So that just means the front 7 guys are just not able to corral guys and bring them to the ground. So I think Kyler Murray's got a legitimate chance to have a special game, a couple 100 yards passing and certainly 100+ rushing if the season goes how it's gone for Washington's defense.
Mm-hmm. Same thing, Larry. The Washington Commanders defense suspect is tackling, as Alex has just said. So you think your running backs have a good chance of, taking that big hit, but escaping against the Commanders defense?
Well, I think Alex hit the nail on the head when he said that the top tacklers are in the secondary. I mean, that's a telltale sign. That's usually doesn't add up well for a good defensive front. And they obviously haven't been able to stop people at the line of scrimmage. But I think, the Cardinals will most definitely have a chance if they can control that line of scrimmage. James Conner has really impressed me since he's become a Cardinal. I mean, even though he impressed me when he was with the Steelers also, but since he's been with the Cardinals, he's been very productive, and I think they've done a good job of using him and not overusing him. And if they can go out there with a good, solid game plan to commit to the run, I think that the Commanders' defense may have some problems from this weekend.
Now, either one of you guys, Alex, I'm starting with Larry. Larry, so the tight end situations, that's a security blanket. Ertz was a security blanket last week for Daniels. I can't remember the tight end's name for the Cardinals. Who's the security blanket for Murray?
I'm not aware of who the tight end is over there either. He must be a new guy.
Must be
a new guy. But I definitely think that with Kyler Murray, with his style of play and how he likes to run around and buy time in the pocket, I think that the tight end position will be instrumental if they're going to continue to move the ball, especially when it gets in trouble.
But what about this superstar first-round draft pick they got? I forget his name. What's his name?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to be special.
I absolutely believe he's going to be one of the best in the league. He's shown flashes of greatness even at this short period of time, short juncture of his rookie year. The key is they're going to have to figure out ways to get him the ball without disrupting the rest of the way that the offense runs. He's going to be a special guy. He makes some contested catches, and Kyler Murray can buy time and get him the rock. There's no doubt in my mind he can make plays and hurt some people.
Well, thanks, Marty, for that tight end update. McBride, right?
Thank my assistant, my child sitting next to me, who knows everything. Yes.
Oh yeah. So
I want to go over here. He lives and breathes all of it. So yeah.
I want to go ownership to a degree. Now, the Washington Commanders did something that I've never experienced, and I'm asking you, Larry, have you ever experienced? Ken, have you ever experienced of leaving a Monday night to fly out west or east to practice for a whole week? Larry, has that ever happened with you?
I can't remember that it's happened. Going out, making that long trip. It'll be interesting to see how this schedule shakes down. Of course, you don't want to disrupt the rhythm, but I even say that maybe they don't even have a rhythm this early in the year. But one thing you don't want to do is disrupt the rhythm of how things go from a week-to-week basis. But guys have to adjust and be ready to play. That's why they get paid the big bucks.
That's why they get paid the big bucks. But Ken, I want you to answer this too as well, Ken, because leaving Monday night from Cincinnati to go practice a whole weekend in Arizona, you got the good weather adjustment and going to take a little wear and tear off your body instead of coming back to DC, then flying out. Ken, give me a little bit If you
Yeah,
ask,
and then I know Alex wants
and
to
then we go
jump
to
in.
Alex.
I was shocked when I heard that, Larry. When we played, man, we were NFC East and from Arizona, so we were traveling all the time, and it was fly in, fly out, and we were so jet lagged and tired half the time. It showed up in the game. Uh, I mean, I was amazed at it, but once again, I think that's one of those criterias, those subtle things that shows the ownership has your back.
Mhm.
And so you're settled, you got a chance to practice, get acclimated, and then you just go out there and ball. But knowing that, it's like big brother or a big daddy got your back,
Mhm.
um, it's a good feeling.
Go, Alex, chime in.
Yeah, so it's exactly what you just said, Ken. It shows that the ownership is willing to invest in the players and their well-being because it's an added expense. They're going to have to put the team in a hotel the entire week, not just for, one night on Saturday night. Typically what happens is you guys know better than me, they'll fly out on Saturday morning and do a walkthrough and then stay in a hotel for one night. It's a big added expense for ownership to do this, but it's better for the players. They're gonna get accustomed to the time change, the
Mhm.
weather. They're not gonna be jet lagged. They're gonna be well rested. And like to what Ken was saying, that really does show ownership is putting a premium on players' health and
Mhm.
players' mental well being, and also what's better for the team. Whereas our previous owner would definitely pinch pennies on this and would have sent them back to Washington for the week.
I'm gonna chime in, Marnie. Then I'm gonna let you chime in, Marnie. The closest I've come to something like that when I was playing for Dan Reeves with the New York Giants. We played Arizona, or we played in the Rams. We will leave on a Friday and get there on a Friday evening, have a light walk, or we work out that morning and get to the hotel, have a meeting. No curfew's at 11 o'clock. The next morning, have a practice, walk our normal walkthrough, and then late night curfew, and then play on Sunday. So we had 2 days to adjust. So that's the closest I've come to it. So Marnie.
Well, John, you read my mind because I was going to say I was pretty confident that when my mom and grandfather were at the Eagles, that it was always, and I thought it was league mandatory that you were there 48 hours. Like we would always leave on Friday. We never left the day before. And I think that that was a good thing. Like you leave on Friday, then you get acclimated. You have all day Saturday to kind of just relax, do whatever, do the, playbook and have your team meetings. And then Sunday, you wake up and you've kind of had a little bit of time versus just shocking your system. So I don't know when that changed because I'm
It,
pretty sure that it was,
it may have been mandated.
48 hours.
I may not be remembering it correctly on my side. I do know us being tired, but it could have been just the practice, the way they had us practicing. So,
Well, back then. Well,
yeah,
yeah. If you look at I'm sorry, Ken. If you look at the way they practice now, the way we
yeah.
practice, we were really beat up back then. And then now the teams, commanders give them their just due for this, for taking the team out a week early. That speaks volumes, like Alex was saying about the
Yep.
ownership, putting them in the best position.
Putting their money where their mouth is and
Their
what's
action.
better for players.
Well, do you
Can I?
mind if yeah, you were probably going to say this, but we want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor for the show, Alex. Alex, you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, a proud sponsor of the show, and we love helping folks with real estate, all their real estate needs. We can help anybody, not just here in the DMV, anywhere across the country. We love helping folks invest in real estate. That's our primary goal, is to help folks learn how to invest in real estate and really make a lasting impact on their families financially. You can go to estellerealestate.com to contact us and learn more about what we do. And again, we're coast to coast. We can help you anywhere, whether you're in Arizona or Texas or in the DMV.
Very nice commercial. Very cool.
Very nice.
John, you want to do the intro, the wheel?
Well, this is the deal. Now, Larry is a fan, a former player for the Commanders and the Cardinals. But will he have to do the will of justice?
No.
No.
I couldn't bring myself to have
You
him
couldn't?
do that. Alex will have to do it.
Alex will have to do it.
Yeah,
Alex
see,
will
I'm
have
the
to
low
do it.
man on the totem pole here on the
You
show.
are.
So,
You
so,
are.
so, Ken, why don't you explain to Larry what the wheel of justice is?
All right, well, John, let me do like my game show now. So,
Oh,
well,
okay,
John, this is how we're going to do it.
how are we
We're going
going
to
to do
spin the wheel, and whatever happens, if the Commanders happen to lose or win, depending on what the wheel says, Alex will have to do it. And so we're going to spin the wheel right now. Let me turn to the wheel. There we
it?
go.
And Ken made that himself. He went to the Craftsman Michaels.
I did.
Yeah.
Ben. Oh, all right. 10 push-ups. So, Alex,
Yeah.
if the Commanders lose, you have to give us 10 push-ups. Videotape it, film it, and
Yep.
gives us 10 push-ups.
I mean, 30. There's 3 judges.
Yeah,
right,
well,
yeah.
John said it, so you got to give 30 and with no rest. So don't give us that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rests and then all that type of stuff. Hit them out.
No, we can make that happen.
All right. Well, I don't know. Okay.
Are we losing? He's on.
Well, anyhow, well, hey, Larry.
There he
Okay,
is.
Larry's back. Okay, I gotta say this. Like, so I was doing a quick thing. You know, Larry, you should be in the Hall of Fame.
Mhm.
You know, and we've had on the show a few people who should be in the Hall of Fame. You're definitely one of them. And I can't express enough how me personally, when you see some guys that has so much heart that they wanted to win, that would drag 3 or 4 guys to try to get an inch. To me, you know, those are some of the things that stats can't prove, you know, that
Right.
don't show. And you were one of those guys. So forgive me for just, you know, being all giddy about it. But man, I got nothing but respect for you, other than when you used to hit me when I played on other team and you almost broke my ribs a few times. But
Hey, he was a cheap shot artist. He got me too. I'm like, dude. I said, what you doing, man? I thought we were homeboys. Like,
yeah.
hey, not on the field, John. But I got to tell you about Larry Centers. I used to do my charity basketball game in East Texas, Hoops for an Education, stand drug free, and Larry would come and play in the charity basketball game. So it meant so much to me. And then he told me a fib one time. He said we were in a park in Marshall, and he said that guy from TCU. He said I dunked on him, but I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I can't tell you how
You were still in
high
high
he was,
school.
man. I was still in high school, but I knew who you were. You know, you grew up right down the road from you. And man, I couldn't believe how high he got up on his dunk, but he caught a rebound coming off the rim. And I looked around and all I saw was the bottom of his short.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I still don't remember that.
That's funny. Well, judges, any last comments? And I guess I can go first, but my last comment is that it should prove to be a big game. Both teams got a lot to at stake here, and I think Larry, you said it quite well. This is a defining game. This is where you start defining yourself as what type of team you're going to be for the rest of the year. Statistic wise, if you lose 2. Starting off, your chances of going to the Super Bowl are very slim. No one expected either team to go to the Super Bowl this year, anyhow, but chances are a lot slimmer. But I think it's going to be a really hard fought game. But this is one of those games to see character, and it will come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes may be the team to win the game.
All right, Marnie.
Yeah, Marnie.
I think the Commanders are going to win. I think between Cliff and going in there, and they've had a week and they're on a roll, I think I'm going to go with the Commanders.
And I'll go with the Commanders as well.
Yeah.
John?
Well, I'm on 2 things here. I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think they're going to have that magic to go out there this weekend, and Cliff got something to play for it. All of them do, you know. And guess what? They're the league leading NFC East leaders right now. And I think they want to take that momentum along the road, because all of us on this podcast here are really from the NFC East. So we want to give big ups to the NFC East, which brings me to this point. The Dallas Cowboys and the Giants are playing tonight. So we want the Giants to win, because that will put the Cardinals, we'll put the Commanders really at the top, besides when the Eagles come to play. But anyway.
I'm rooting for a 0-0 tie, sir.
Well, let's see, Alex, anything that you want to say? This is your closing argument.
Closing argument.
This is where you're trying to convince the jury that the Commanders should win. Give us your closing
All right.
argument.
Well, first, it's cool. Such an honor to be on with Larry as well. I remember when we signed him in '99, I was like, this guy is awesome. And so I was really excited. I know he was only here for a couple of years. I was really happy he got a Super Bowl with New England, but it's really cool to be on with you. But yeah, for me, I think I have to kind of fight my natural instincts as a 35-year-old fan of the team who is used to, oh, we actually had a great game for once, and usually the next week we, come back down to reality. I know it's a new era. We got a new ownership, a new organization. So I'm hoping, and I think that they'll do just enough to get the win this week. I think they'll end up winning this thing 28-21. Actually 28-24, because I don't think the defense is going to hold anybody to 21. So I think 28-24, another kind of high scoring game. And I hope Washington wins. And I feel kind of like Larry, 5 or 6 on the confidence scale. Not super confident, but what are you going to do?
And Larry, Larry, this is your closing argument. You have to present it to the court. Give it some passion. You're on TV too. This is your TV show.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I watch Judge Judy almost every day, so I'm pretty good at these things. I think that while I have a great respect for Washington and for that fan base out there, and I really hate to disappoint them, I just feel like the Cardinals have something special this year. I think Kyler Murray, while he's healthy, and with that running game and that defense is playing good, I just believe they're going to pull it out. And I'll even say it'll be a close game. I think they'll win by a field goal. And it won't go much bigger than that. So my heart goes out to the Washington people for this loss that they're about to take, and I'll gladly do the 10 push-ups if I'm wrong. But Cardinals are going to pull this one out, Ken. I just believe by 3 points.
All right. Well, videotape yourself doing them, champ.
Hey, you see how you slid that in there? He said 10, not 30. He said 10. I get you. I got you. The judges got to hear that stuff out, man.
Well, hey, guys, thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Great show, Larry. I mean, it's knowledgeable.
Can I ask one last question for Larry?
Sure.
And this is, you and I, we've never experienced this. But, man, can you give us an experience of, well, we don't have to bring up Bill Belichick, but your experience at the Super Bowl, how was that for you?
Oh, man, it's every player's dream. I think we all dreamt of it as young players coming up. We wanted to go to the Super Bowl, and I was fortunate enough to go with the Patriots my last season. And I just can't express how thorough Bill Belichick was in getting us prepared for that game. And Ken made a statement earlier that Bill Belichick makes each and every week, several times a week, and that's the team that makes the fewest mistakes is usually the team that comes out on top. And I think this game will be no different this weekend. And so, but it was a great experience to answer your question, and I couldn't be more grateful to my teammates, you guys. Both of you guys were my teammates, and I took a little piece of every one of you guys with me as I went through my career, and couldn't be more grateful to have guys as good as you as teammates.
Well, hey, can I have your ring then?
I'll let you take a picture of it.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, hey, thank you guys for being on the show. Really appreciate it. And we'll see what happens with the game and people watching the podcast. If you got any comments, any ideas, how we can make the show better, feel free to let us know. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.